Well, everyone, it's that time. I'm Ed DeVeaux. I'm the president of the New Jersey CannaBusiness Association. I'd like to welcome everyone to our Friday Lunch and Learn, a series where we try to bring you the best and brightest minds in the cannabis industry, and this Friday is no different. So at some point, we will get to our special guest, David Fenton of Grow America Builders. Before that, what I'd like to do is once again welcome you all to our Lunch and Learn. Please do enter the chat feature and put in your contact information. We'll try and grab some questions for you along the way. And before we get started, I would like to thank our supporting sponsors, Curaleaf, Burton, Trent Public Affairs, the law firm of Inglesino, Webster, Wyciskala, and Taylor, Puffin, Entrepreneurs and Investors, HBK, CPAs, Argus 365 Security. I'd like to thank Eaze. I'd like to thank the United Food and Commercial Workers, UFCW, and Garden State Greenhouse. So with that, I'd also like to thank my host this afternoon, Destination Dogs in New Brunswick, New Jersey, D-Dogs. I'd like to share my favorite, the Conquistador. This is a chorizo hot dog. This is on a toasted bun. They do such a great job here at D-Dogs. We love them. We'd like to thank everyone here at Destination Dogs. And so once again, before we get to our special guest, David Fenton of Grow America Builders, I'd like to welcome, we're gonna do something a little different. I'd like to welcome this young man. He's an outstanding performer. He's a solid community citizen. He supports causes, not just cannabis, but all those that are in need. I've seen him work the New Brunswick community and the greater New Brunswick community, just doing great things. So without further ado, I'd like to open up the program with Jay Silent Night.
Oh, thank you, Ed. Really happy, honored, and privileged to be here. And yeah, ready to have some fun, do some songs, do a song to start it off and to close it out, and to learn some information today. So thank you very much.
Ignition. Liftoff.
Back to the basics of it. Tools of the trade, not no paint by numbers. Real deal, ain't no faking funk. Talk about change, then it changed the subject. Oh, now you want to feign some disdain for the dangerous gang that's been plaguing for hundreds of years. It's a shame, but late's better than nothing. Jump on the train, it's the day we disrupt things. So this is about supporting people that support you, putting your money where your mouth is. We vote with our wallets every day. So when we can, to be mindful of that, you know? Check it out. I'm picky about where I place my paper. Instead of simply spending, I'd rather embrace my neighbor. Kids with no principle, easy way chasers, find themselves in the pickle, another tastes is caper. Need to re-rate your flavor, some of that potent. Your mind's ajar, you need to fully open it. Oh, opposite of your wallet, try closing it and honing in on who you'd want to be holding it. What's their intentions? Where they gonna go with it? Are you prepared to share the guilt with their associates? The buck don't stop when you hand it over. Culture of capitalism, or rather lack of culture. Pack of boasters for every new bill printed. Vicious, ready and willing to get ill with it. Run of the mill, they running for meal tickets. It's power in the purchase. Make it worth what you put in it. There's a part normally where at the show I'll be like, say make money, money. Now spend money, money. How about save money, money? Maybe invest money, money. Yeah. Thank y'all for having me once again. Check it out. See me? I'm picky about where I place my paper. Instead of fun in depth, I'd rather embrace my neighbor. Kids with no principle, easy way chasers, find themselves in the pickle, another taste is caper. It's been that way for a while, that's a tough cookie. A bit of biotic, it kinda sucks to me. A little luxury will have you spending careless, and if you're struggling, see, choices are less apparent. Whatever end of the spectrum, whatever way you wear it, we're pretty daring with our dollar and our self-merit. You disrespect me, don't fret, see, I won't break your window, but you could bet that'll be the last time you get my biz, though. It's pretty simple when you break it down. That golden rule still applies, and basic how I walk an extra mile to an independent convenience store, cause it means much more. And then we hit them with the make money, money, make money, money, money. Then what we do? Then we spend money, money, spend money, money, money. How about save money, money, save money, money, money? Or maybe donate money, money, donate money, money. Yeah. I done boycotted Forbes top to nonprofit. Anybody could get got, they ain't absolving. Oh, they gotta be accountable, else they bound to do anything for a buck. They too powerful, but we got power too. That's what I'm trying to say. We underestimate, we let them get away, we let them legislate. Dreaming of better days, they sit pretty and let the paper stack every day. The same dollars that arm radical renegades, the same dollars that bought the last Senate race, the same that made them throw the fight for heavyweight, that made the record state the paint wasn't lead-based. It's got a lot of reach, that's for damn sure. It can be overwhelming, we always can do more. But here's something simple we overlook when we're reaching to our wallet, pocketbook. Then we here to make money, money, make money, money, money. Spend money, money, spend money, money, money. Save money, money, save money, money, money. Donate money, money. Invest money, or do what you want to do with your money. But yeah, thank you very much.
That was great. That was awesome.
And thank you so much. Another thank you. We'll come back to you to close out the program, so don't go anywhere. I'd like to welcome our special guest today, representing Grow America Builders, David Fettner. Look, when I took over the presidency of the CannaBusiness Association, there were people that were here already doing great things. And I got to tell you, one of the first people that stepped up and actually gave me words of encouragement, gave me words of support was David. So David, I'd like to welcome you. Welcome from the great state of New Jersey to the great state of Illinois.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me. And what an intro. I mean, Silent Night, I feel very honored and special that I got to be on the panel with the intro of the song. We're going to hear one at the outset too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great.
Well, David, again, thank you. So we'll get right into the conversation. So tell us about Grow America Builders. You guys have done some great things here in New Jersey. Give us some background on Grow America Builders.
Great. So we're located here in the Chicago area, and we're a national construction company. We're one of the only national construction companies that only do cannabis, right? So if it's in the cannabis industry, we build it. Extraction labs, cultivation, greenhouse, obviously dispensaries. That's what we do. We're not out there building restaurants or hotels or whatnot. We live, breathe, eat, smoke cannabis. That's what we do. So, we love the industry, and, again, we're every state where it's legal, we're in it.
That's excellent. And so here we are in New Jersey. You've done some, again, great work here.
Thank you.
I know that one of the big topics is, particularly for New Jersey, we're diverse, not only in terms of our ethnic and cultural makeup, but look, our geography is diverse.
Yep.
Our landscape is extremely diverse. You can be up in the northwestern part of the state and be in the mountains. You can be in Central Jersey, right, where you're talking the shore, you're talking inner city. You go south, and it's even more different, right, than the north and central. So when it comes to construction, what are some of the things that people need to consider when they're building cultivation, when they're building processing, or when they're building dispensaries? What are some of those major considerations that you hope a contractor, a licensee, an operator has already taken into account?
So those are great questions. And, in New Jersey, we've built in central New Jersey, we've built down by the shore, we down by Camden. So we're all over, but also, what's nice is that we've also built in the mountains in Montana, right? Out in the desert in Nevada. So the one thing I would say the most important part about geography is when you're doing cultivation, right? When you're building a cultivation facility, you want to make sure that your MEP, right? Your mechanical, electric, plumbing, your actual humidification, dehumidification is done by somebody that knows the area, that knows the geography. For instance, right? If you're using an engineer who is only familiar with California, right? And the desert area, maybe Palm Springs, Nevada, they may not know the high humidity you get in New Jersey. They might not know the cold. New Jersey is very similar to Illinois, where we get deep freezes, we get blizzards and snowstorms, but on the flip side, we'll have 105 degrees and humidity that nobody would believe, right? You walk outside and so you need to protect the plants. You need to make sure that when you're engineering it for that huge variables, right? The deep freeze and also the high humidity. Make sure, because we've heard horror stories in the industry where, a grow house maybe in Michigan will, hire an engineer from, California, Oregon, and they may not understand the high humidity we get in the Midwest and out by you also. So I think that's probably the most important thing when it comes to, the different geography.
So there are two big questions, and I'll try to break them up. That, look, a lot of people that join the association, they're looking forward to making an application for a license. They want to be successful. We want the industry to be successful. So two questions. I'll do the first one on the physical side. What makes the best grow facility? What's the best manufacturing, right? We've got stock of warehouses, but is it new construction versus reformatting existing? What makes the best cultivation type of facility? What makes the best, in your opinion?
Great question. And we get brought out to evaluate buildings from the get-go, right? Whether it's somebody that has a license or they're applying for a license or they're being reviewed for a license, we'll fly out and we'll take a look and evaluate the building. We just did that out in Camden actually a few months ago. And it was an old dilapidated building. And you would walk into this place and be like, oh my God, tear it down. But you know what? It had the infrastructure. And that's what we look at. We're going to look at what type of water service is coming in there. What type of electric service? Is it single phase or is it 3-phase electric? You want that 3-phase. What are the bones of the building? Because just because a building looks like it's ready to be torn down, if it has that infrastructure, it could be great. So there's a back and forth as far as, what's the best type of facility, right? Whether just to build a steel pole barn from ground up or to utilize an existing warehouse. And there's a ton of old warehouses from old industry. There's these towns that have, old paper mills or, old auto repair shops, whatever it is. And if it has the infrastructure, if it has the right power and the right water, then that will make the building perfect. If you have a building that may seem like, okay, this is perfect. It's 20,000 square feet. It has exactly the room sizes we need, but it only has single phase power and it has an undersized water line and maybe it doesn't have the right drainage. That you'll want to pass that one because you can always build out the room sizes, right? You can always get the footprint that you want for the most part. It's all about the infrastructure of the building.
Great, thank you. I'll stick with the physical plant side for a second more. Inner city, right? We've got licensing categories that were directed at people who are historically disadvantaged by the war on drugs, typically come from urban centers. And right now, the micro licensing category has a restriction. And as I've said, and I will repeat it, I think it's a good thing because it does lower the bar to entry and it does mitigate risk. But what are your thoughts on the 2,500 square feet to 5,000 square feet? Are urban centers good places for that? And again, is this a matter of rehabilitating a site, or is it new construction, which again, you might not have the space in an urban center?
Yeah, so that, the micro licenses you're talking about is similar to, social equity licenses that are given out in other states, which, I'd say about a third of our clients are social equity licensees. So I think that those micro licenses, capping it out at 2,500 or 5,000 square feet, it's a good start, right? It's a good start. And what I would look at if I'm evaluating it is, okay, can we get the 2,500 square feet right off the bat? And then also is the room to expand in case they they increase that, right? They may say in a year or two, okay, we're going to expand that to 7,500 square feet or a 10,000 square foot canopy, right? So, you know, it all depends in those urban areas. Again, what the infrastructure, I'm going to go back to that. They may not have, you know, 3-phase power that would be able to equip, you know, a 20,000 square foot grow house anyway. So that 2,500 square feet or that 5,000 square foot may be perfect. And as far as new construction or utilizing an existing building, again, it depends on what the bones are. You know, we're looking at a project in, you know, I'd say an inner city Chicago area, and that property is going to have a brand new steel pole barn, right? A prefabricated steel building that our guys will install and put together, but it's going to come in pieces. It's very inexpensive, and it's a perfect facility for a grow house. Everything was going to be new slab, foundation, radiant heat, which we always encourage, but radiant heat in the flooring to allow the heat to rise, and it helps dry everything out. But you know, if there's space and there's a vacant lot, then yeah, you could do a new construction fairly inexpensively for a cultivation facility.
Great. Now the other aspect, the financial part.
Mhm.
This is the question that, I mean, some people do shy away from it, but I really do think that we have to approach it head on. In your estimation, and I know it could be a very broad number, but let's, if you want to break it down by micro license or social equity applicant versus what I'll call the conventional applicant, how much, right? What will somebody need in terms of an estimate, ballpark?
Yeah.
I want to get started. I want to invest in 2,500 square feet. I know that I'm going to need architectural renderings.
Yeah.
I'm going to need construction. How much? What should I put out or in the bank to make sure that I can take this?
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for putting me on the spot there. Ed. That's great. So I would say that what you would need, what we say for a range, right, for a grow facility, okay, for all equipment, construction, tables, lighting, the whole soup to nuts on the construction side. On the low end, you're going to be around $300 a square foot, okay? On the high end, if you're going with the top quality LEDs and you're going with the top, fertigation system, et cetera, you're going to be around $400 a square foot. That's the top notch. We see things usually settle around, $325, $350 a square foot for the grow, right? And again, that includes all your equipment. That includes, everything that you would need. You turn everything on, automation control, you're set. So that's on the construction side. Then, for architecture, civil engineering, you're going to want to bring in consultants. If you're not an expert on growing, we always recommend bringing in an experienced grower. Bring in somebody that has been doing this for 10 years, that has an idea on how to do the genetics. You may want to do your own strain. You may want to you want to bring in consultants on that. On that end, that's hard to say. But if you're talking about with the micro licenses, right, with 2,500 square foot, startup facility, I call all that soft cost, right? Your hard cost is around, again, $300, $350 a square foot. Your soft cost, you want to add in probably another, I would say between $50,000 and $100,000 to cover architecture, the MEP engineer, grow consultant, legal and whatever other, miscellaneous fees there are with that. But again, that's a variable. It all depends on what people are doing. And there's a lot of companies out there, whether it's law firms or it's consultants that are doing reduced rates, and they're doing different promotions for social equity licensees. Again, micro licensees in New Jersey. So that's also something I always look into.
Well, thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. Didn't mean to. But
No, it's great. That's the number one question, right? That's how much is it going to cost? Because otherwise, nothing else matters. Right.
And if I don't bring that question, then I'm not doing my job, right?
No, you have to. And trust me, it's something that if, we've had people call us back, I heard we can do a cultivation facility for $75 a square foot. And I say, okay, yeah, you can build it, but you're not going to have, the RO system. You're not going to have the fertigation. You're not going to have the lights. So yeah, of course you can build it. But when you're doing it, you need to take into account everything else. Because you don't want to go in there if you're looking for investors, right? Or if you're looking to put a package together, you don't want to be light on that, because then when the time comes and the bill comes, like, oh my gosh, I forgot another, $250,000 to gather from the investors, and now you have to go back. So you always want to make sure, A, you have enough, and B, you have a contingency and a buffer in there for a little bit more than what you actually need.
Great. So as people are getting started, right? Because there are some people that are experienced, and we appreciate them being experienced in the business. Some people are coming into this new, and that's a great thing as well. What are some of the common mistakes that people make when they're looking at jumping in from your perspective, from a Grow America Builders? Like what are some of the things that we need to avoid? Not just what are the things we need to do, but what are some of the things we need to avoid in order to be successful?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's something that, from the builder, it would all be about evaluation. Evaluate the building before you sign the lease or before you purchase it. I can't tell you how happy we are when we have clients call us and say, hey, we're looking at 3 different sites. Can you come out and evaluate these with us? Because then we can look at it. You may have one site that's in the best location possible. You can't believe what a great location it is, but the building is junk, and you're going to have to put in 3 times as much to get that building up to speed for whatever you want to do with it, whether it's a dispensary or cultivation, as opposed to a building that may be not in the best location as far, but it's the price per square foot is going to be a fraction of what it would be. So that you want to evaluate each building. We get called in for buildings that are already done, they're already purchased or the lease is signed, and we'll have to retroactively try to figure out, okay, well, now we have to bring power here. It's going to be, to bring in the 3-phase power can be $100,000. That could be something that nobody really thinks of. They think, oh, every building has power, it doesn't matter. But if you want to run an extraction lab out of that facility, or if you want to, bring in LED lighting, you may need, your chances are you're going to need 3-phase to run a cultivation facility. So we always say, bring in a builder. Obviously not always us, whoever your builder is, or call a builder, let them evaluate the building first before you sign on the dotted line. I would say that's the biggest mistake, that we see. Everything can be fixed and modified, but it'll cost. And then that brings your cost up and your margin goes down.
That's great. Thank you for that advice. I know that that people do need to hear that, right? And look, in our world, we're not trying to discourage anybody from doing it, right? This is not a conversation in discouragement, but it is a conversation in education. We want people to be educated. We want people to go in knowing, right? Because we want people to be a success.
No, you want people to be, we want everybody in the industry to be successful, right? Because this industry, it's so young and it's so new. We should be encouraging whether it's a competitor or not, let's raise the industry, let's get it going. We're so early in this industry. And as far as, mistakes, I just want to kind of go back a little bit too, as far as dispensaries, right? Because, that's when you're valuing a building for a grow house. But for dispensaries, what we always see, is the vault. The vault is built too small. We have clients, we'll build a vault for them, and they think this is more than enough room. I can't believe how crazy we are that we're building this vault. And in a year, they're calling us back and they say, how can we expand this thing? We're busting out of here. So, when you're building a dispensary, I would always, look at that vault. If it's as big as you think you need it, make it bigger. Your reception area, right, where it's going to be near the front door, make sure you have doubled up on the air supply, right? In the winter, you want to make sure you have extra heat. That's your receptionist. That door is going to be open and closed all day long. Right? In the summer, make sure you have the proper air conditioning for this. So it's the little things like that, some little design features. Make sure you have enough POS stations in your dispensary so you don't have long lines so people are getting frustrated and leaving. So there's a number of, little tweaks, little design tweaks when it comes to dispensary that we can, talk about. But, as far as mistakes with cultivation, it's really about the building itself.
So what has been your thoughts on greenhouse again in this, and maybe you did touch on it, I just want to go back to it because again, New Jersey, we have agricultural communities that are interested, right? Agricultural communities that want to opt in. And so for those people that are joining and who may not be familiar with what we're talking about when we say opt in, municipalities right now have a decision to make with respect to saying yes to cannabis or saying not now to cannabis. So some of those communities are agricultural. Let's say they're an agricultural community and they say, yes, we will allow cannabis, we're going to zone for it properly. Greenhouses. Is there a huge difference in types of greenhouses that people need to consider? Yeah, absolutely. So we don't ever claim to be experts in growing, right? We leave that to the experts. But just by being around and building these, we have, a sense, some type of education on it. We're building facilities, we're building greenhouses, and we're building, indoor warehouse grows. And, great product comes out of both. But with the greenhouse, you're taking advantage of Mother Nature, right? You're taking advantage of the natural sunlight. You are growing in a facility that's more natural than an indoor, pole barn or an old warehouse or whatnot. And also, we see it in Massachusetts, with outdoor grow too. The outdoor grow is phenomenal. You can do outdoor. You have a greenhouse on site, and also in the summer and springtime be able to grow outdoor. It's a nice way to mix up and have a hybrid system. But with the greenhouses, you can have it as highly technological as an indoor warehouse, right? Everything is fully automated. You're getting mechanical shades to keep the sun out when you don't want to have that sunlight. You can control it just as much as you can control an indoor warehouse, but you're also taking advantage of the natural sunlight. In different areas, we're talking about geography, different areas, you have different types of greenhouses. Also, you can have a different type of greenhouse in Palm Springs, right, than you are in New Jersey or Massachusetts or Connecticut. But there are some phenomenal greenhouse companies out there, and that's more of a collaborative process between the grower, us, the builder, and the greenhouse manufacturer, because they'll also engineer a lot for the greenhouse, bring it over to us and to the MEP engineer to evaluate. So that's a much bigger collaborative process, but we love the greenhouse builds, and phenomenal product comes out of there. Great, thank you. Thank you. I'm seeing some of the feedback. Again, this is great education for people, and trust me, David, you're doing great, man.
Thanks.
Different part of the process, right? Mm-hmm. You've touched on the cultivation, you've touched on dispensary, the manufacturing, the processing. Mm-hmm. When does somebody want to do? What makes a good processing prospect? Give us some insights there, your experience with manufacturing.
So from our experience, right, with different clients and different customers, is if you can have it as part of your budget, because they're pricey, but if you can have an extraction or processing room as part of your cultivation facility, you want to do it, because that's going to bring in the best revenue and the quickest revenue. That's from, again, we're not on that side of it, right? We're on the build side, but from, just work with different clients and different consultants, we always try to get that extraction lab, that processing facility as a part, either adjacent to the actual cultivation building, or, when you have the back of the house support rooms, you want to have a little extraction lab. Now, again, that equipment is very costly. There's a range, right? You can have extraction lab A and extraction lab B. Extraction lab A can be $250,000, right, of equipment and of lab. And you can have extraction lab B that has, $500,000 worth. And it's the same, you're getting the same, right? The same script, but you just have different equipment that gives you, different type of efficiency than you would. So you can do them, at different price points, but they're going to, reap a lot better margin than if you don't have it. That's what we've always learned from our clients, is that, okay, we want to get this extraction lab in there because we're going to be able to do a lot more with it. We're going to be able to process and then, distribute it quicker. And, and the name of the game when you're building this is to make money, right? You do want to bring in a margin and bring in revenue. So that's the best way to bring in the revenue. They're just a little bit costly. And same thing, like when you're evaluating a building for cultivation to make sure it has the right power and water, etc. You want to look at those same things for the extraction lab. But chances are, if you have, again, that three-phase power and you have the water sources good enough and you're designing it to have an extraction lab, then you'll be okay with that building. Now, I will say, I know I'm a little long-winded, but we have clients that may not have the funds right off the bat to do the extraction lab. So what we'll do is we'll design a little corner of the building and we'll stub in, right? So we'll run everything up until that point, we'll run in, you know, the ductwork, we'll run in the water, we'll run in the conduit for the electricity. And then, you know, a year down the line, 2 years down the line, if they're ready to do it, they're not scrambling and backtracking, having to tear walls out and rip up flooring. Everything's there when they're ready to get that equipment installed.
That's very cool. Thank you. And trust me, I don't mind long-winded.
Yeah.
Especially when it's good stuff. David, again, man, I really appreciate you taking the time. So as we get ready to wind down, it is a Friday, it is Jersey. I don't want people stuck in traffic. And before we have Jay Silent and I come back, I first want to thank you for taking the time. And as a final thought, if there's a by the numbers, what would be your by the numbers? I need to get started with a physical plant process. Give us that by the numbers kind of overview.
So when somebody comes to us, we get a phone call and they say, okay, I just got my license. What am I going to do now? Right? What's my next step? Or I have applied for a license. I think I'm going to get it. What do I do? We say, okay, let's take a breath. It's very overwhelming. Okay. But we'll say, do you know your location, right? Do you know exactly the area or the district, you know, where you're allowed to? Yes, we know. Okay. Well, let's take a look at a few buildings, right? So number one step is to evaluate those buildings. Make sure that they have what they need. Once you're settled on a building and we've done the due diligence on it, right? Usually a 30-day due diligence to check everything out, make sure there's no red flags. Then the next step is to get a plan together, right? Get a floor plan of how you want to lay out the facility. I think we were talking more about grow houses right now, right? So, you know, what type of facility that would be, you know, how big of a canopy is the license going to allow you to build? How many support rooms? How many employees do you think you're going to have? So we'll lay it out with our design team, okay? And it'll be a back and forth between the client and us, and hopefully there's a grow consultant involved, and we're all laying it out together. This is the lighting grid. This is the best way to do it. These are how many tables we think we want per grow room. Again, this is the size of the vault. Are you or are you not going to be able to do retail out of this facility? Once you get all that down, then the next step is to get an engineer on board, right? An MEP engineer to start engineering all of that, start looking into the equipment. And, you know, while you're waiting for that license to come through, or while you're doing your due diligence, you're getting all those plans in order. And then everybody likes the plan, everybody signs off on it. Now it's time to go in for a building permit, right? You submit just like you would any regular, municipality. You submit for the regular building permit. You have to make sure that the municipality is going to allow cannabis, but hopefully that was done, by the legal team, in the prior. And then you start building, right? And it's usually, depending on the size of the facility, it could be, a 3-month build out for that 2,500 square foot that you're talking about for a micro license, or it can be a 10-month build out for a 20,000 square foot facility or more. So that all depends. And when it's done, you have the state to come out and make sure you've got your compliance in order. So usually the city will come out first. They'll give you your certificate of occupancy. Then usually we schedule a day later. Sometimes it's been same day where the state will come out, and then they'll issue their state compliance inspection. They'll usually mail you a few days later that you can be up and operational. So I would say if somebody's saying, okay, how long is it going to take me? That design process will take about 2 months, depending on how big it is, it could take 3 months. Then you submit for the building permit. That takes, another 4 to 6 to 8 weeks. And then again, the build, which is another 3 months to 10 months.
That's excellent information, David. Again, man, can't thank you enough. I do have one more question that just popped into my mind. Then I'll thank our sponsors. Much of my conversation has been about responsible, sustainable, diverse, and profitable industry. There's been a great deal of concern, not only on the plant touching side of things, making sure that historically disadvantaged communities get a shot at that. We have taken on, at the New Jersey CannaBusiness Association, taken on the mantle of making sure that the conversation about all ancillary businesses, all services are represented appropriately with minority vendors, minority contractors. So in closing, what Grow America Builders does with respect to some of those hiring practices, working with subcontractors, working with the community.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So because we're national, what we do is we always hire local contractors for the most part. So if we're doing a project, you know, whether it's in Arkansas or Las Vegas or New Jersey, we will hire, I'd say 90% of the contractors are local, right? We'll ask, you know, our clients, you know, for instance, we have a client in Montana. We ask them, hey, you know, do you know anybody around here, you know, who you like, who we could vet, right? We'll still vet them, you know, who wants to do the work, who needs the work, who would be a good subcontractor. So, you know, we have a crew here that we'll send out if we need to, and they'll knock, you know, project out very quickly because they're coming from out of state. They stay at a nearby hotel. But our first instinct and what we like to do is get local contractors. I'd say for almost all of our builds, 90% of every contractor has been a local trade. You know, also WBE, MBE businesses are huge right now, right? So we'll always check to see, is it a minority owned business? Is it a woman owned business? And is it a real, right, woman or might? Because a lot of times they're not as legitimate as they should be. So want to make sure of that also. And by hiring, you know, a WBE or MBE business, and by also keeping local trades and local contractors, we're able to also get a nice local feel of the community too. So, you know, if you're bringing in everybody from out of state, or, you know, bringing in you don't know exactly, you know, the little quirks of the community, right? Of, you know, what an inspector may look for, or, you know, the efficiency and whatnot. So that's what we do. We also do a lot, again, we have a lot of social equity clients because we run a different promotion for our social equity licensees. We have a reduced fee. We do a lot of due diligence with, you know, no letter of intent, no commitment. We do itemized proposals. We'll fly out and take a look at, you know, what you're looking at and meet with you. You know, no charge on any of that, on any of the travel expenses or anything like that. So we try to do a lot with the, you know, again, with the micro licenses or the social equity applicants.
Excellent, David. Well, look, thank you for your commitment to your hiring practices, elevating communities of color in your work. I want to thank everyone for joining us this afternoon. David Fettner of Grow America Builders, thank you once again for joining us at Lunch and Learn. Thank you for your work in New Jersey.
Thank you. This has been great. I was really looking forward to this, Ed.
Thank you, man.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So our sponsors, Curaleaf, Burton, Trent Public Affairs, Inglesino, Webster, Wyciskala, and Taylor, the law firm, Puffin, Entrepreneurs and Investors, HBK, CPAs, Argus 365 Security, Eaze, UFCW, United Food and Commercial Workers, and Garden State Greenhouse. I'd like to thank you all for your support. David, once again, thank you. And
thank you.
Let's close out the afternoon with our special guest, Jay, Silent Night. Jay?
Hey, what's up? What's up once again? Yeah, that was great. Thank you again for that, and just for today. Also, I want to say some people in the chat are asking about the shirts, so I got to shout them out. Buy Weed from Women, that's the whole company, the movement, the everything. So find them at buyweedfromwomen.com or Buy Weed from Women on Instagram and everything like that. So big thank you and shout out to them. And I got to shout out my band called Fuse, as you see behind me, and all my soul rockers out there. So thank y'all. So I believe I got a few requests for this one. So it's been a motto, a mantra, something that I had to remind myself a bunch of times, and people seem to relate to it. Thank y'all again for joining us. It goes, busy is my best friend. And some people asking me exactly what that meant. I tell them busy is my best friend. And I didn't plan it though, it's just the way it went. I tell them busy is my best friend. And they still asking exactly what that meant. We tell them busy is our best friend. I didn't plan it though, it's just the way it went. I spend my nights bent and my days on edge, anxious. Can't remember my last night in the bed, couch hopping. Never said I was without options, it's just that I'm locked in a perpetual round robin. More than my own home, I'm at the compound. More often than my mom's house, I'm at Con's house. On route more than on location. Logo days spent in so many stations. Radio, bus, train, straining to sustain. Save money, save face, save me from much pain. Trying to gain wealth was something I enjoy doing. Pace myself, but really keep the ball moving. We building, so grind mode is reality. A state of mind, an elementality. You say you want it, okay, well how badly? I'ma be honest, it's not a phase or a fad. See, busy is my best friend. And some people asking me exactly what that meant. I tell them busy is my best friend. I didn't plan it though, it's just the way it went. We tell them busy is our best friend. And they still asking exactly what that meant. I tell them busy is my best friend. And I didn't plan it though. You see, busy is as busy does. That's why my schedule was plentiful and filling up. That's why my sessions are incredible and ill as what. That's why my family and friends don't see me as much. Peace, peace. Hey, what's up? How you been? Staying busy, you know. Trying to stay sane, trying to make a living, you know. I'm away to the lab to start my grizzly. After that, it's off to the Zoom to get busy. Face buried in the screen to keep my mind off of thoughts of her and those jeans is genuine at least. And my eyes are sore, cause it's 6 a.m. I've been sitting there since the night before. Cancer emails, writing galore. And searching for the band called Fuse. Life is short, it's time to pour it all in. Geronimo with my soul rockers, I tell them busy is my best friend. And some people asking me exactly what that meant. I tell them busy is my best friend. And I didn't plan it though, it's just the way it went. We tell them busy is our best friend. But they still asking exactly what that meant. I tell them busy is my best friend. I didn't plan it though, it's just the way it went. My people facing hardships, trying to make deposits, working day to day to pay the rent or pay the mortgage. One check away from being on the street, or my people who were there one check ago, it's deep. When that check took a rain check, you in the rain drenched, waiting for a better to get next to some heat. My people that got seeds, trying to raise them right. And at the same time, find your own place in life. Working nonstop day and night to accomplish what you constantly would say you might. My people that return to school, working too. No trust fund to turn to. Independent, more strength than some could even fathom. Balancing necessity and passion. When it gets so bad and you feel no one has a hand to lend. Busy is your best friend. When you're trying to see your vision through to the fullest extent, busy is your best friend. When you hoping whatever you going through will just end, busy is your best friend. When you don't want to think no more, when it hurts so bad that it hits your core, but it'll hurt even more if you stop, even for a second, busy is your best friend. And busy is my best friend. Thank y'all so much once again. My name's Silent Night. Yeah, I love y'all. Thank you so much for having me.